Some people spend their entire lives working for more money, more financial success, accumulating more things and houses and cars and bags, and then they hit 50 and then they realize maybe that wasn't a good use of my time. Now, contrary to what some people might want to have you believe, there are totally many wealthy, super happy people with great relationships and great family lives, and that is fantastic. But I also think it's fair to say there are some people who have made earning lots and lots of money the absolute focus of their lives, and the rest of it has just kind of fallen by the wayside. And while they do have money, they don't have much else. I personally was fortunate enough to achieve my financial goals at a pretty young age, and I feel like that's given me a pretty unique opportunity to learn some financial lessons very quickly, which most people don't get until their life is like halfway over, and then they potentially regret how they spent their time. So in today's video, I want to share exactly that. I want to share the best thing which I ever learned about money, and that is this. You have a decision to make, and that decision is, what is enough for me? Now, let me share with you how I came to this conclusion that of all the financial decisions you're gonna make, this one is the most important. I was at a conference and there was two speakers who were both discussing money, very much so along the same lines, and encouraging the audience to define what enough was for them. And now, while I've been to a lot of conferences, I've heard a lot of people talk about money, this really resonated with me, this whole enough idea. And I truly have come to the conclusion that this is the most important thing that we're going to decide about money. So the one speaker asked people in the audience to raise their hands to certain questions. They asked like who had said to their toddler before, like, just 5 more minutes, honey, I just need to finish up this email to the client. Who had canceled on friends because they just need to squeeze in a bit more work that night. Who had maybe bailed on a vacation or family plans because, oh, actually, I just really needed the money. I really wanted to make a bit more, so I decided to just like squeeze in one more client even when I didn't really have time to do it. The vast majority of the room, myself included, raised our hands to one or all of those questions. To which the speaker then asked us, when are we going to be satisfied? We started businesses for freedom, and here we are working more than ever before to make more and more and more and an unlimited amount of money, which we're never satisfied because we always just want more. I feel like our society so much so values growth. It's like, if you're growing, that is successful. Doesn't matter how much, it's just growth. Like if you're doing worse than last year, if you're doing the same as last year, that is a failure. And only growth, it's the only thing which is successful. And I have a real problem with that idea. The second speaker at the event, she was talking about how she had decided upon what enough was for her and her family, and then she would stop working the rest of the year. And she would just, once she reached her financial goal, she would just spend time with her family, she would do her hobbies, she would do stuff around the house that she just never had time to do when she was working constantly. And so she actually just like picked her financial goal, worked towards it, and then once she reached it, she stopped working until January 1st of next year. Now that inspired me, and I have talked my husband's ear off about wanting to reach this magical enough place for years, but ironically, I would also always want more and more and more. And there was genuine reasons for that. I mean, in your 20s and 30s, you have a lot of these like startup expenses, like I had to pay off my student debt, then I had to save for a house down payment, then we had to save for a wedding, and we did a renovation, then we saved an emergency fund. And so there was just a lot of things that required me to make money. But the problem was this entire time, I was like striving for more and more and more. I knew what I really wanted to get to was enough. I wanted to define enough. I wanted to take my foot off the gas pedal, and I was never reaching that point until now. Which brings me to my next point, and that is true financial freedom. Let me explain what true financial freedom means to me. You know, when you start off, or at least me, you're a broke student, and then you get your like first job, and then maybe you start giving yourself some little like upgrades. Maybe you get a new car instead of the old used one, which was kind of unreliable. Maybe then you get a nicer apartment, or you get a new couch, and you just start to slowly but surely increase your lifestyle. I think it's pretty common to say that as we earn more, we tend to spend more as well. But if this keeps happening, if we always are increasing what we're spending, we're always going to be a slave to money. So my theory on financial freedom is this. At some point, and we all get to decide for ourselves what that point is for us, we need to decide what enough is and the financial goal that you're happy with reaching, within which that financial goal you could live your like life that you're super thrilled about. When you can keep your financial desires constant and not always move the financial goalposts, that's when you can truly be financially free. I feel like someone watching this might be like, well, good job, Paige, you make a lot of money, and so therefore you can say that. But there are people who make just as much as me. They have all these things. They're like, I want a Bentley, I want a Chanel purse, I want a house in Ibiza. I'm like, I don't want those things. Like, I've actually decided, like, okay, this is my idea of the life which I want to live, and this is how much money it's going to cost me. I'm not raising the desires any further because I truly think that I will always be a slave to money in that case. I think a huge barrier to us actually achieving financial freedom and deciding on enough is other people's opinion, other people's goals, other people's inspiration. You know, when you go online, you see everyone's 5-star vacations and you see their BMWs and their crazy mansions and huge diamonds and Chanel bags and all of these things. This definitely has an effect on and an influence on what we think that we also want. In the entrepreneurial world, it's slightly different. Instead of just showing off like what it is that we have, it's more like, here's this amazing revenue goal, which I reached in 5 seconds. Whoops, sorry, battery died. Getting back to my point. This can make us want to hit those numbers just to keep up. Not because we actually maybe need or want the money, but I think if we actually knew how much we wanted to make, we wouldn't be so influenced by these other things to feel like we're also successful. I believe true success is setting your own race, defining your own goal, and reaching that goal. And that, to me, is successful. It doesn't mean you aren't successful when you haven't met up with other people's standards of success. It's about your own goal. The problem with what we see online is that it takes time and effort to make a lot of money and to achieve those things. And if you don't even want that in the first place, then you're quite literally running someone else's race. I can honestly say that getting off social media, I've not been on it for literally years now, was the best thing I ever did to run my own race. I blocked out all the noise, all the nonsense. I started focusing on me and my family and what we wanted and how much we want to earn and not keeping up with the Joneses. And that has just been freeing and beautiful. Just recently, I have indeed decided on enough for myself. I have stopped my financial desires from increasing. We're at a point that we're super pleased with, and now we're just running our own race. Now, I was talking about Shanna Skidmore earlier on in the video, and I swear we're like 100% on the same page when it comes to social media and finances and enough and all of these things. So I am super excited to let you know about a training that she's actually hosting coming up soon. It's called The Art of Six Figures. And while it has the very sexy, clickbaity 6 figures in the title, let me assure you that Shanna is all about financial freedom and helping you achieve it and not having you run after some like arbitrary financial goal because it sounds sexy on the internet, but truly figuring out what is enough for you and helping you reach that. She is a financial educator. She helps creative entrepreneurs. She's helped literally hundreds of women to get their finances in order, myself included. So definitely consider joining her on the training. I will link that for you in the description below and also up here so you can catch that training if you want to. Now, I would really love to know if you have thoughts on this, what your own perspective on financial freedom is, what your own theory on it is. Maybe if you're into this idea of enough or not. I'm into it. Doesn't mean you have to be into it. I'm just curious to hear what you have to say. So do leave that for me in the comments below. If you want more on the financial side of business, then I definitely recommend you check out this video next. It is all about my 7 different income streams and what I learned once I built them.